And we are live. Hola and bienvenidos, everyone. Hello, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another weekly rendition of Los Lobos de la Lucha, your weekly CMLL review. We are going to have a full trio tonight, but we only have a duo as of right now, so to speak. But we are still going to have a good time. I am one of your hosts, El Jefe Mikey, around the BC WrestlePod parts. And joining me right now is, of course, you know him, you love him. You can find him here every Wednesday for CMLL and every Friday for TNA. You will also see the both of us on Sunday reviewing the next TNA pay-per-view in Victory Road. But coming down to the ring in his amazing mask that I never get tired of seeing and his awesome Lucha Libre shirt, Papa Oso himself, Will. I'm so happy to have you here. I missed you guys last week. I was so sad I couldn't be here. You are muted.
I was like, well, I was only here for 5 minutes of last time, so because Adolfo decided to start early for some reason. I don't know what that's about.
See, this is what happens when I'm not here. Y'all let it burn to the ground. I'm just kidding.
I did. I was like, oh, hey, I'm here. And he's like, and that's it for the night. And I was like, oh, guess I missed it. My God.
You guys still did pretty good, and Adolfo definitely heard it now. And it's funny now because he was the one to lead it last week, and now this man is running into technical problems.
Oh, no.
But he should be here very, very shortly. So hopefully everything's okay. Our third co-host for the evening, El Buntador II, will be joining us later as soon as he gets all set up. But I am going to take the reins a little bit because we're going to be doing something really fun tonight. So we ended up watching the Viernes Espectacular show that took place on Friday, September 6, 2024. So until El Buntador gets here, me and Papa Oso here are going to be talking about the matches, and then we're going to spend the remaining show going over the official card for the CMLL 91st Aniversario show happening this Friday. I am so excited. We're doing a watch along this Friday for it. Oh, I am super excited. And also, at the end of the review, I have some fun news, not necessarily CMLL related, but I just signed 2 new things in terms of pay-per-views and who's in charge of that coming down the pipeline. So we are doing things around here in the BC WrestlePod parts, but a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. You can follow us all over the social medias at BC WrestlePod. We are pretty much anywhere and everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We also have a Patreon, and so where you can see never before seen exclusive watch-alongs for some of our more recent pay-per-views. Those are a lot of fun. You can also see all the fun conversations we have. Like, for instance, you can have me, Adolfo, and the professor talk about certain things. So it's fantastic. You can also check out our socials at Next Level, where everything is housed. Shout out to the Next Level boys, who we are partnered with in the process to give one lucky person a custom made championship wrestling belt or NFL belt of their choosing. So that is fantastic as well. And then, of course, you can hit the subscribe button here on YouTube, follow us on Twitch, and I promise you it's going to be a good time. So now, making his way from stage left or right, or, whatever direction he decides to pop in, we have El Buntador the Second. I was afraid you weren't going to make the show, my friend, but I am so happy that you are here.
Don't want to talk about it. Let's do the show.
Okay, cool. So, we're gonna hang around on this screen for a little bit. We're gonna talk about the Viernes Espectacular show, and then I'm gonna do a really fun side thing where I bring in, the matches for our anniversary show happening this Friday. Oh, I'm so excited.
Right. That's right.
So I am excited. This is gonna be fantastic.
So, because I just pushed a button.
Push the button. Push the button. Anyways, so
okay, I got my slideshow.
Cool. Alrighty. So I am going to do my fun little thing really quickly. and we're gonna change scenery a little bit, and then we will get started. We'll get the shindig on the road.
Okay.
So here comes the fun thing.
Yeah. Here we go.
Woohoo! Good transition.
See, I love when I get to play with. I love that when I get to play things on Canva. It's so much fun. By the way, I
Right?
want this to now be our official thumbnail. I'm just sitting it out there. This looks fun.
You got it. You got it. So I do apologize, everyone. I was plagued with technical issues because I decided to try to actually use my computer that's made for audio and video editing. So, best laid plans. But Viernes Spectacular, let me tell you, that was not broken. That was totally off the chain for the Viernes Spectacular before the 91st anniversary show, which I guess you could consider it's the go home show, as we would like to say in the West. So this show, we start off with a Relevo Australiano, a one fall match where we had on your Rudos side, Espanto Jr., Raider, and Dark Magic against Stigma, Guerrero Maya Jr., and Schwelha. The first half, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give a really quick recap of these matches, and then I'll toss it to my esteemed colleagues to get their thoughts on the match. So this match was, as I said, one fall. Most of the first half of the match, it was the technicals were in command. They were showing good work, good working together. They were separating the Rudos. After a possible tope botch by Guerrero Maya Jr., where it kind of looked like his foot got hooked up on the rope. Not sure about that, but the Rudos decided to come to life. And let me tell you, Espanto Jr. and Raider are two big guys, and they like to bully. And that's exactly what they did. They just, for the rest of the match, they bullied the Technicos. Dark Magic Jr., he's got good power on him too, but I would say he's like the agile, nimble individual of the group. But in the end, we get Raider pinning Schwelha off a top rope power bomb, which was beautiful. So, Papa Oso, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
So what did you think of this match?
I liked this match. I didn't know any of these guys, and I love it when I don't know anybody, because then I get to well, actually, I lied. I didn't lie. I just realized I did see Stigma once, I believe, but the rest, I don't think I've seen the rest of them. Maybe Dark Magic. He kind of looked familiar to me, but I really liked this match. I thought it was a pretty awesome match to begin with, to start the night with. Yeah, I saw the foot get caught on the rope, and I did kind of inhale a little bit, thinking, oh, he's about to eat the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And he came close to it. I will know he did come very close. So I was a little concerned there, but other than that, I thought that the match was, as I always say, in the men's fighting in this style is so pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Like the very, very beginning, the very first note I put down is this match seems very stylized.
Mm.
You could see the 1, 2, 3 go. You could see the setups. You could see it. And but it was not done in a way that you're like, oh, look how fake this is.
Right.
But it was done in a way, it almost is like choreography. It's almost like a dance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so neat to watch. It's so hard for me because I get so lost in it sometimes that I just forget to like take notes.
Yep.
And I did that with this one, so I had to go back and watch it again. But I thought the match was pretty dang good. I mean, not pretty dang good. It really was good. I thought the Technicos were pretty on fire through this whole match. The Rudos just came and just whooped butt. I mean, they got their second wind or something, and they're just like, evil twin powers activate or something. I don't know what happened, but something did, and they suddenly kicked in gear, and it was like boom, 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 boom. They took them out individually, and then they sort of like converged on. Was it Stigma that converged at the end? Was it Stigma or no? It was Guerrero Mayo. I think it's who got the pin or got pinned.
Schwella. It was Schwella.
Oh, was it Schwella? Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was Guerrero. Okay, but they like focused all their aggression on him, and then it was like, oh, this is going bad. This is going bad. It's like I was kind of hoping the Technicos would have won this one because I really liked what they were doing, and I felt that the Rudos were just, they were Rudos. I mean, they were,
yeah, they were.
I mean, they were doing what they were supposed to do. Yeah, and I just was like, oh, okay. But then they won, and I was like, okay, I was okay with it, but I was just like, oh wow, it was, and that ref was really quick on that last count.
Yeah, he was.
He was so fast on that last count.
Yeah,
because it was like, oh, 1, 2, and he was like 1, 2, 3, and I was like, what? Yeah. But no, it was great. It was a great match.
Nice. El Jefe, what'd you think?
So I actually really enjoyed this match as our opener. And I thought, kind of like what Papa also said, and then what you said too, it never ceases to amaze me how different Lucha Libre is, where there is no weight limit, if that makes any sense. You have your heavies go up against your more aerial-oriented Lucha Libres, styles and stuff like that. There's nothing much to say. I thought this was a fun opener. I kind of laughed because the picture that we get of Dark Magic versus what he came in with is completely on the polar opposite of the sticky spectrum. I loved it so much. I did, I also agree when the foot got caught in the ropes. I'm like, no, because, when foots get caught in rope like that, I'm always like, not the ankle, not the ankle. But you know what? Go ahead.
I was going to say the sad thing about that is once you do a move like that and something goes wrong, there's nowhere to go but down. It's like, down. He jumped and I saw the foot and I was like, there's no way to stop yourself.
Yeah.
So hopefully your partner sees it and like steps forward or something. But man, he barely and it was, but good for him playing it off though.
Yeah,
he threw himself back, and I was like, oh, "Good for you."
Yeah, I think he was doing it on Espanto. Whoever he was doing that tope to, it did look like they were trying to adjust because they saw him get caught and come short.
Well, yeah, because I saw them reach down, oh, here, let me help. It's like, oh, okay, you're down. Okay, now I'm going to throw myself back. I think it was Espanto Jr. I think is who it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say that was, yeah, I agree.
No, that's totally okay. And that's pretty much all I had. I thought this was a fun opener. I don't mind that the Rudos won because if I remember correctly, these particular three have not won a lot since we started watching CMLL. Yeah. So they were bound to win one. And I'm sure that our Technicos will get their win back at some point, but this was a fun opener for sure.
Yep. And I have to double check, but I think that Espanto Jr., Dark Magic, and Raider have created a new group or faction called El Nuevo y El Negro. so
that's one way. And then the official record books also has it as La Ola Negra as well. And I come to learn that Raider is the newest member of this faction too, that they introduced in this match, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think he got knighted or something like that on the CMLL catch-up show. So that was fun. So then after this match, we move into a relevo australiano increíble de Amazonas, which pitted your captain Tessa Blanchard, La Catalina, and Hera Those are your Technicos against Xerxes, the Capitan, Reina Isis, and Sanely. So this was a best 2 out of 3 fall match. The match started with Hera and Reina Isis going at it. Catalina then flew in. Then Sanely came in. Tessa Blanchard came in, who did this crazy like front backstabber move off the ropes. It was cool. Then Xerxes and the Technicals tried to double team or group up on Xerxes, but she like dodged out of the way, so they kept kicking each other. And Xerxes got some help from Sanely and was able to pin Tessa Blanchard for the first fall. The second fall saw Hera and Sanely starting in there together. The Technicos in this second fall worked a lot closer together, and they were able to single out the Rudos more. To which you had Hera and La Catalina penning Sanely and Reina Isis. And then in the last pinfall, the Rudos got it together and ended up getting the pin for the win. So your winners in this match was the Rudos team of Xerxes, Reina Isis, and Sanely. Jefe, what do you think of this relevo australiano increíble de Amazonas?
So outside of our main event, this was definitely like my second pick for my match of the night. This almost made up for it. Had the final, to find the final participant or the second participant of the Copa Independencia match that we had in our main event, this would definitely be my main event. First and foremost, I look at Reina Isis, right? And I'm like, damn, I can grade cheese on those abs. Like, homegirl has muscles on muscles, bringing a whole new definition to muscle mommy. I don't know. Rhea Ripley might kill me, but I was like, oh, hello. Oh, no, mommy Rhea, wrong. Like, Rhea Ripley him all the way. But damn, like, homegirl was built. And if I read correctly too, she's a bodybuilder who also happens to wrestle as well. Which makes a lot of sense because we see that a lot in American wrestling too. Bodybuilders and wrestlers do both.
Yes.
But damn, she was killing it. Of course, I'm a big fan of Xerxes. Like, she's fantastic. I thought this match was balls to the wall. It was lots of fun. It was amazing. I had such a great time. I also did not take too many notes during this match because I was enthralled with what I saw throughout all 3 falls.
Yep.
And of course, I'm biased because I love women's wrestling in general, and Amazona action on Viernes Espectacular never disappoints.
Yeah.
So I thought this was fantastic, and I think this was my first real introduction to Reina, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep watching her. I kind of dig her. She's kind of killing it out here, but all 6 women did a fantastic job. This was definitely one of my favorite matches of the whole night.
Yeah. And yes, as a sidebar, Reina Isis did compete in a national bodybuilding competition last weekend. I don't believe that she placed, but she did compete. So that was big doings. Papa Oso, what'd you think?
I loved it because, it's women's wrestling. And I'll say it now, and you'll hear me say it every single time, that I love that the women don't play. They do not play.
Yep.
And I love it. And I'll keep saying it over and over and over again. I love how things are sort of flip-flopped here. How the women's matches are so aggressive and so like heavy hitting. No, they don't hold back, and the men's matches are just like choreographed and beautiful. And, it's that sort of, and I love that.
Yeah.
And this was no exception. This match, these women were like meow kitties. And I was like, do it, girls, do it. Like every one of them. I thought every one of them were super strong. Like I didn't think there was a weak one in the group. I thought that they all had their own sort of power every time when one of them would go in, you're like, oh, this is completely different than the others, and they're holding their own and they're doing their thing, and it was just as Mikey said earlier, this is if the main event wasn't what it was, this would have been my number one match
Right.
because it was just claws out, go to town, girls. So
Yeah.
yay, love them.
Yep. Yep. We love our Amazonas here, and this match again, a great example of how talented the Amazonas over in CMLL are. So, moving on, our next match we had. Boom! There we go. This saw a bunch of vets coming on to wrestle each other. You had the team of Ultimo Guerrero, Guerrero Maya Jr., and Stuka Jr. Versus Volador Jr., Atlantis Jr., and Máscara Dorada. This was a relevo australiano, best 2 out of 3 pinfalls. And, you know, I just have to say, like, these 6 wrestlers are incredible. They just like they are what like if you were starting a new wrestling like company or whatever, these 6 you could like this. These are your foundation guys, because every match that I've seen, Stuka Jr., Guerrero Maya Jr., Ultimo Guerrero, and not only were they rudos, but they played the part and they wrestled really well. Mascara Dorada and Atlantis Jr. and Volador Jr. super exciting. A lot of energy, a lot of high flying moves. So at this match, we started with Atlantis Jr. and Stuka Jr. In the ring. After that, Ultimo Guerrero and Máscara Dorada came in, and the Rudos really settled in, and they started just beating on the technicals. And the first fall came in submission in this fantastic. Everyone was in the ring, and the Rudos made the technicals tap out, but it was one. On either side, you had like a Boston crab on either side, and then you had like a I don't know what an Iron Maiden like stretching rack in the middle. It was very. I should that was the screen cap I should have took because it was just beautiful. So that was the first fall. The second fall. At the beginning of the second, the Rudos just continued to brutalize the technicals. In this like violent king of the hill match where like a technical would try to get in, all three rules would like toss him out. Another technical would get in, all three rules would toss him out. Finally, Mascara Dorada was able to clear house, and the technicals took control. And after a little bit of a fracas, you did have Mascara Dorada pinning Ultimo Guerrero for the second pinfall. In the third, this was technicals just shining because Atlantis Jr. came out with guns blazing. Then Volador Jr. comes in and he puts on a clinic. And then Mascara Dorada comes in. He's like, classes in session, folks. Take notes. In the end, you had Volador Jr. and Atlantis Jr. pinning Stuka and Gran Guerrero. Fantastic match. A lot of high energy. I felt it kept the energy going up for what was to come for the rest of the show. Papa, also, what did you think?
I love this match. The reason I love this match is because it's one of the reasons that I love this style of wrestling or this culture of wrestling. I'm going to call it a culture of wrestling. Is the idea that ageism doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And which is so wonderful because it's like, because in American style wrestling, you reach, 30 something, you're an old man and they get rid of you. I mean, but here you've got people that are wrestling in their 60s, you know, and they're like holding their own. I mean, it's not like, oh, sympathy. Let's do a sympathy, wrestling with them.
Yeah.
No, they're like
Yep.
throwing themselves off the top ropes, throwing other people. I mean, it's like it's such a wonderful culture, and I love matches like this. And I'm really, 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 really loving. The more I watch him wrestle, the more I love him. Is Mascara Dorada. I love him. I
Yeah.
just love watching him work.
Yeah.
And every time he was in the ring, I mean, my eyes were on him. I was just like, just all of his moves are so smooth and fluid.
Hmm.
And it's just so great. But I love it. Again, you're going to hear me say I love all of them because I do. But I love this one because of what it represents, I guess. And that idea that in this culture, it's like everybody has the right to do it. Everyone has you want to wrestle till you're like 90 years old, then we're gonna let you do it. It's like so, and I love that. And I just love it. So this match was just really nice to watch because one, like Ultima Guerrero and Stuka Jr. and Gran Guerrero, they're stout and they're strong, and
Hmm.
they're keeping up with the youngins, and every time they wrestle, because they'll wrestle someone way younger than them,
Yeah.
and they keep up,
Yeah.
and it's so impressive that it's just like, wow, look at this, such a lesson in, you can be what you want to be no matter how old you are. Don't let your age hold you back. Don't let anyone hold you back because of your age, because these guys, man, they're doing it.
Yeah. Jefe, dígame, what'd you think?
I mean, there's nothing more I can say that hasn't already been said. I thought this was also a very fun match as well. And of course, anybody who has been following BC WrestlePod for a very long time all knows that regardless of gender, male, female, if they are guys, gals, non-binary pals, like I'm always down with the thickness with a heavy. And there's no cure, and I don't want one because I'm down with the thickness. You know, whereas Papa also loves Máscara Dorada, and I love him too. I think the more I see Ultimo Guerrero, the more that I have more of an admiration because he's giving me the work rate of an older wrestler that we aren't used to, especially in the North American, aspect of Western wrestling.
Yeah.
Because usually when people reach a certain age, they retire. We don't really see them do in-ring stuff. And this man has been going since like the crack of dawn and like everything, putting all the legends that we hold high in regards to other promotions in wrestling to shame. Because this man is out here. He don't need to win championships. He's just going to be on every show. And he is fantastic in the ring. And he does not miss a step, which is the crazy part. I don't know if Mexico got like better drinking water or something down there with that regimen, but like CMLL is one of the only promotions that we currently review here in BC WrestlePod where age is not a thing in CMLL. Like it doesn't matter if you're young, if it doesn't matter if you've been on at this business for 20 plus years, nobody misses a step. And that's kind of crazy to me. And it makes me love CMLL even more. I thought this was a fantastic match. And I'm gonna get on my soapbox a little bit. This is where I need to see. This is how I need everybody else to view Atlantis Jr. because his appearances on American wrestling television does not equate to what he is capable of in Mexico, and it makes me mad because I'm tired of defending Atlantis Jr. as the ROH television champion. Like this man actually got skills. He just needs to be let off the handle against an opponent who will let him do that. But I digress.
Yep.
I thought this was a fantastic match. Ultimo Guerrero has my respect. Stuka Jr. is fantastic. And then Gran Guerrero, call me. That is a beefy boy. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, every single time I see him.
That is fair.
That's my baby daddy right there. Just kidding.
Yeah, you baby. Yeah. I want to kind of pull the car over to the side just for a moment and address something that I've seen week in and week out in CMLL, but like for whatever reason, when I watched this episode of Viernes Espectacular, it just kind of like popped in my mind. And that's how much and how well all the luchadors, not only are they performing in the ring, but their interaction with the audience as well is incredible. Because like it was this match that kind of like the switch flipped in my mind, because you had uh, Mascara Dorada and Ultimo Guerrero. They were doing like, you know, Mascara would put his arm up to have the people root for the Technicos, and then Ultimo Guerrero would put his hand up to have the people, boo for the Rudos, and it just like, and I was like, man, there is not one match that I've seen where there has not been like some iota of audience interaction. What did Papa? Also, what do you think? Does my thought have merit, or am I just high
No,
on
it
fuel?
totally does, and I've talked about this in previous episodes where the audience is an active participant in this culture. Unlike in like American wrestling, the audience is not an active participant. They're a reactionary responder. But in this culture, the audience is part of it because it is so much a part of the culture that they feel as though when a wrestler like indicates to their part of the audience, that wrestler is indicating right to them. They
Yeah.
feel it that like he or she is talking to me, and you can feel that. And it's when the audience responds, they don't respond just because, it's like Pavlov's dogs. They respond because they're like, I am part of this. So I am a part of you. I am an extension of you. And I love that. I just love that so much. And and again, this is the difference. I personally, this is my own personal opinion. When it comes to like a Western style or American style wrestling, is it's entertainment
Right.
purely. In like this style, the luchador style, it is tradition. It is part of, you grow up with it. Like not just watching it on TV or whatever, you grow up with it. It's like in your genetics, you might say. And in American wrestling, we watch it on TV and we're like, oh yeah, that's great. Oh, I'm gonna go to a live show. Okay, yeah, woo, live show. But people when it, to me, what it feels like when you get, this is why I want to go to one so bad. I want to go to Mexico City and actually go to one of these shows. Is because I want to feel that. I want to feel, because when I watch it, I mean, yes, there's not a percentage of Latin anything in me, but I feel so connected with this style. When I watch it, I feel like I'm part of the audience. I feel like I've lived it my whole life. I mean, I know, and I haven't, obviously, but it's so, and I agree with you in the long way around that the audience, I think, is not just a part of it. Like just okay, they're there and we're here. They are it. I mean, it's like literally all one body
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to like a hat on your head,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
like an accessory, I guess
Yeah.
you might say. So,
Right.
but that's it. Yeah, I totally agree with you though.
I have it.
So for me, I want to piggyback off of what Papa also said, and especially from my a personal standpoint, not even just as an active participant when you're there in the arena, but just lucha libre in general requires a lot of active participation, even at home. And I can attest to that at home version because growing up, my grandma used to watch a lot of lucha libre. And so she would be, hooked onto the television every Friday night and she would watch lucha libre because that's what she grew up on. And even at home through the television screen, it's like what most Americans do when it comes to westernized sports is they get invested in it and they're yelling and screaming and throwing non-lethal things to break the TV screen at the TV themselves. That's what my grandma did. But there's just something about lucha libre in general that is an active participant both in person and at home as well. And we don't really get to see it that often, which is through, especially in the lens of Western wrestling in general. So I thought this was a fantastic match and it kind of resonates with that point. So, yes, Buntador, your viewpoint does have merit because it's true.
Cool, cool, cool. I appreciate that. And my last thought on this is Mascara Dorada versus Will Ospreay. Make it happen. So,
Yeah.
moving on. We had our next match is Match Relampago. It is the 10-minute lightning match where we had Soberano Jr. versus Templario, and these two they didn't even wait for the bell to ring. They just like went straight at each other. So this went 10 minutes plus. Oops, I spoiled it. This was a great match. Unfortunately, I didn't write a lot of notes because just like y'all, I was just so transfixed on this match. In the last few minutes, there was such great like back and forth of move, reversal, move, pin, reverse, pin. That it was just it was I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. In the end, we had a draw. Uh, both wrestlers were outside of the ring, and Templario hit a wicked arm drag, sending Sobrano Jr. Into the barricade hard. And sidebar, I did do some research. It does look like this was a work that Sobrano Jr. is fine. So do not despair. Our sexy Sobrano Jr. He's good. He's okay. But yeah, this match ended up in a draw. El Jefe, what did you think? And I believe this is the first draw that you've seen in a match Relampago. See? Muted.
I knew that. I'm just kidding. This is my second because even though for the shows I don't appear on, I do still watch the shows because I want to stay up to date.
Okay.
Which is kind of nice about CMLL because you don't have to watch every single week to know what's going on. If you
Yep.
watch the recap show that also happens each week, then you are good to go when it comes to all of that. I will say I thoroughly enjoyed this. Of course, this had two of probably my favorites within here. So, I mean, Mr. It the Clown himself. And yes,
Yeah.
you already knew. Yes, you already knew. I was like, yes. Templario is just really fun to watch because he not only is like your power-based luchador, but he also mixes that with the high flying, and he's a big man with hops, like we
Yeah, he
say
is.
all the time here in other promotions. He's a big man with hops, which is crazy. I really enjoyed this match too. There was not a bad match on this Viernes Espectacular for me personally. I thought every match did something different and it checked something that I love about CMLL right here. And I thought this was fantastic. I am happy to hear that Soberano Jr. is not actually hurt. And I figured that was the case, but you never know because he was laying on the ground. And they did the one thing in wrestling that I love and hate at the same time. Like they showed the slow-mo recap at the end of the match where we saw him get chucked into bury the barricade, and I was just like, oh good lord, what is about to go down? But geez Louise, that was brutal. But other than that, I thought this is a fantastic match. Soberano Jr. also kind of getting the Ultimo Guerrero thing. I see him on every single episode at some point during the week now, which is kind of crazy. So shout out to Soberano Jr. Templario, both of them killed it in this match. It was fantastic.
Definitely. Papa Oso, what'd you think?
I loved it because I love both of these guys, but I'm a real big Templario fan. The more and more I watch him, the more and more I just absolutely love him. And about halfway through this match, I kind of had a feeling that they weren't going to, that no one was going to get, no one was going to win, basically.
Mhm.
I figured, I was like, I think this match is going to go on to the 10 without anyone getting, you know, because to me it felt sort of like a show off match. Like, let me show you
Okay.
what I can do against my opponent. These two especially, because I mean, it started. I mean, before, like you said, before it even started, it started.
Yeah,
It was just like, and I was like, okay, this is going to be an interesting match. This is going to be fun, I think, because this is like they're already on each other, and the bells haven't even rung yet, and then it's like, okay, and it just kept going. It wasn't even like, okay, let's break it up and let's officially start. It was just like, boom, let's go. I'm like, all right, guys, just ring that bell, ding ding, because they're not going to stop. And they just kept, from that point on. It went on continuously for 10 plus minutes.
Yes.
It was
Yep.
I didn't feel that there was any like pause. There was no breath taken. It was literally like, I'm going to take this one gigantic breath and I'm going to try to kick your ass the whole time. And that's exactly what it felt like. And then both of these men were all over the place doing amazing things. It was just amazing to watch them. And I, like you, I didn't take any notes on this match
Yeah.
because I was so engrossed in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just, man, it was a powerhouse match.
Yeah.
I thought they were out to kill each other, and I was like, okay, 10 minutes. Oh, nobody killed anybody.
You're right. I will say I would like justice for Kemalito, who caught a super kick from Sobrano Jr.
Rude.
But that's how you pull that heat in Mexico.
Yep.
You attack the mascots. So.
Yep.
So this was our semi-main event, and this brought us to our main event, which is the second phase, or the segundo fase de Copa Independencia. And in this second phase, we had Crixus, Zandecan Jr., Hijo del Villano Tercero, Averno, Dulce Gardenia, Dark Panther, Star Jr., and Titan. And again, just to kind of recap for those that might not be familiar, the first part of this starts with a mini 8-man rumble, where the first 4 that are tossed out of the ring are your team B. And then it turns into what they call a torneo cibernetico, which you have team A versus team B, and constantly someone has to be in the ring, and either you pin them or you submit them, and then it just keeps going on like that. So I'm going to just go over who pinned who, and then we'll open the floor for discussion, if you will. So we had Star Jr. I'm sorry. We had Zandecan Jr. pinning Hijo del Villano Tercero. We had Dark Panther causing Dulce Gardenia to submit. We had Star Jr. causing Crixus to submit. We had Titan pinning Zandecan Jr. We had Averno and Titan submitting Dark Panther and Star Jr. And then we had Titan versus Averno. And in the end, that was the aftermath. Titan is your winner of the second phase of the Copa Independencia. As I said, this is Averno after the fact. He had to get taken out on the backboard. And this is a video that I thought was going to play, but why would I think it would play? Because, anyway. Technology. So, Jefe, what did you think of this of the second phase? What did you think of the first phase? Because you weren't here to talk about the first phase. So,
I thought the first phase was a lot of fun too. Again, I keep up as much as I can, and I loved it. The second phase, after watching both, I think I like the second phase a little bit better than the first one, but both were still fantastic. And, this was perfect to have these two phases main event the last 2 weeks, especially coming off of the International Grand Prix that we witnessed 3 weeks ago, which I can't believe it was 3 weeks ago. But man, Like, we are in Grand Prix season, and that's not even it, because now that we're going into the anniversary show, and then I believe we have 3 or 4 weeks until the Amazona International Grand Prix. So I'm excited to see who else we get over the next couple weeks. But as far as this goes, first of all, I would like to report a hate crime because Dulce Gardenia still does not get a win, and he deserves it. Okay, look, I am a big sucker for the lucha libre trope of the exotico, which is what Dulce does right now. Maybe not to the extreme of, like, exoticos in the past, especially, the name slips me, but the luchador who kind of created that trope for it as well. I'm going to do my research and get that name out a little bit later once I'm done speaking. But I was like, I like to report a hate crime because Dulce deserves better. I am just thoroughly entertained with Dulce, and I also love how every other wrestler leans into that exoticalness. Like, when he goes up and tries to submit people, people are like, ew, get away from me. Like, what is happening? And and what makes me love Dulce even more is that the crowd loves it. And then not like in a weird, gross way. They are so behind Dulce, and it's not like a weird thing where I was just like, yes, this is what I want to see. So I thought this was fantastic. I will say, when we finally got down to Titan and Averno in this, and they went back and forth for like a good 8-9 minutes, my little brain was blown, because I was like, I love Titan. I follow New Japan, so I know what he does there. And of course, it helps that he is trained under, which I believe in this episode, or it was last week, we saw Tetsuya Naito in the audience just randomly pop up on camera.
Yeah.
Our New Japan heavyweight champion. So that's awesome, because that is the faction in New Japan that Titan is a part of, which is Los Ingobernables de Japón. So love that. But I keep forgetting, because it's been a while since I've seen Averno. I forget how good Averno is. Like, geez Louise, that man put Titan through the ringer with this one. But I am super excited. Listen, at the anniversary show, we are getting Titan and Máscara Dorada, and I'm just like, I'm sold. Give it to me. Give me.
Yep.
Like, this match is about to burn the building, and the children need to watch, because this is going to be a barn burner, in my opinion. So I thought this was a really fun main event. I am super happy to see Titan win, representing both CMLL and New Japan. I am excited. If it wasn't evident enough, I think it's going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. All right, Papa Oso, what'd you think?
I sent you a little bit of history there, El Jefe.
I did, and that is the one that I was looking for. Exactly.
While you were talking,
Davis.
I was like, clickety clackety, clickety clackety.
Love it.
I love this one. I think this one was, I agree. I think this one was far more, not necessarily interesting, but I think it was a little better than the first one. The first one was really good, but there was just something about this one that really just sort of caught me, and I don't know what it is, other than they were all amazing. And I was, and I agree, Mikey, that for Dolce Gardenia just can't catch a break. I was just like, come on.
It's a hate crime. It's 2024.
Total hate crime. Total
justice for Gardenia.
You gotta. He gets his wins in Guadalajara. When he doesn't, when he's not in Guadalajara,
true, actually.
He doesn't win.
Or when he's on the Coliseo shows on Saturdays too. That I noticed.
Yeah.
That's fair. And I was on Titan's side the whole time. I was really hoping that he was going to win, and he did, and I was excited. So I was like, "Yay, my guy won!" Plus, he's easy on the eyes too. So
yeah, and he's a small little thing.
Yeah, he is. Which is kind of surprising. I never realized until he got in the ring with some of these guys, and I was just like, "Wow, you are not at all what I thought you were."
Yeah,
it's not a bad thing. But
then when he does all of his top rope stuff, like when he does the like box jump to the top rope, to me that's even more just like, you are amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is so spry.
Yeah.
I mean, he just like bounces all over the place. Yeah. I mean, I was just like watching him, just like good Lord, how are you even still standing? I would be so out of breath, it wouldn't even be funny. It's like, of course, I mean, I'm a big fat guy, so obviously that's not going to happen. But and yeah, no muscle here. But I just was like from beginning to end. I was like, I was hoping that he was going to win.
Yeah.
I was there for him, and he won, and I was so excited.
Yeah.
So this was a great month, man. This was so good. It was so good.
Yeah.
I did have to go back. There was, oh, I don't remember who it was. It was, oh God, who was it? I don't remember which one it was. I had to go back. I went back and watched a lot of them again,
Mhm.
just because I watched the sheer spectacle of it first, and then I went back and actually watched the match. And there really wasn't a weak a weak one at all. They were all so very strong. I mean,
Yes.
even Dolce Gardenia, even his was, he wasn't like just I've been taken out. I mean, he put up a fight.
He did. Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah, he did.
and I loved it. And so no, this whole match was fantastic. This was obviously my match of the night, because it was just so great to see all of these guys just taking each other on. And I love this style of, A versus B, and as what two people go in, one's out, another one comes
Yes.
in, one's out.
Yep.
I love that. That's such a neat thing. And I mean, it's so simple, but I just loved it. I love this whole match.
So this now sets up in the finals for the Copa Independencia. We have Máscara Dorada versus Titan, and that's going to be this upcoming week in the 91st anniversary show. Which now I will hand this over to El Jefe.
Sweet. I love it. You're going to tag me in. So we're going to quickly do a transition because I got a fun little slideshow that I wanted to present. So we will be right back in 10 seconds.
Yeah. Here we go.
Transition.
We love to see it. So I'm super excited because I get to kind of lead the rest of this discussion for this episode as we talk about the matches to expect. So normally, if you are familiar with how we do pay-per-views here at BC WrestlePod, I love a little slideshow when it comes to all the matches we're getting. Now, I could not find all the official match graphics, so I might be bouncing back and forth between actual graphics from the internet that have been released to the poster itself to talk about all the matches. And while I am speaking, I am also going to send a copy of the poster to my co-host so that way they can take a look at everything. Also, one thing that I love about CMLL is they tell you the order in which these matches are happening on the card, which makes me super happy because I know what to expect and where we go from there. So I have sent it to the group chat for the boys to take a look at the poster as we go through the rest of these. So this Friday from Arena Mexico is the CMLL 91st Aniversario show. Yes, CMLL has been around for 91 years, which is crazy because they are the longest running wrestling promotion, period, in the world, going on 91 years strong. And the funny thing is that I believe because they're also promoting future shows, I believe like 4 or 5 weeks after the show is the 20th anniversary show for Místico. So that show's about to be on and popping. Yep. But really quickly, I do want to show, you can't really see it here, but my boys can. This poster is all the matches to expect on this card for the anniversary show.
This is a pretty poster. Right. I mean, most of the CMLL posters are art. This one is, true if I can actually get a physical copy, it would go up in my house.
Oh, absolutely. I need CMLL to do what most promotions do and sell like little frame posters at the event. I will buy one and hang it on my wall. Like, no lie, no cap, as the kids say. Also, El Butador, we'll talk afterwards because I have access to certain privileges as my profession allows me to, so I may be able to do that for free. So we'll see what happens. We'll figure it out. So let us begin. So we're going to start at the bottom of the poster, which surprisingly does have a match graphic. And we have a trios match, if you will, if the Americanized term of it. But we have the team of Futuro, Maxstar, and Hombre Bala Jr. taking on Magnus, Rugido, and Mágica Blanca. Listen, we have seen various iterations of these six, either by themselves, in full trios, in tag teams. And all I have to say is that bodies will be flying everywhere.
Yeah. This is going to be a very high flying event.
Mhm.
In this match, even the Rulos are high flying. So it's. Go ahead. Sorry.
Not listen. This is a group discussion. If anyone has any thoughts, like this is what we're here for. I am super excited. Bodies are gonna fly everywhere, and the fact that I believe this is what's opening the show is gonna be nuts. Like this is opening the show, ladies and germs and non-binary folks of the internet. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Also, you know, Magnus, call me.
The other cool thing that I like about this, and that I just love about Lucha Libre and CMLL in particular, is that there's no like real big overarching story or anything like that that you have to be like, okay, what do I need to know to truly enjoy this match? No, these dudes are going to go out and they're going to put on a wrestling match for you, and you're going to enjoy it. And that's the only story that's being told is in the ring, and that's all you got to worry about. So,
Oh, absolutely. Papa Oso, do you have any thoughts about this opening up this Friday for us?
It's gonna be a lot of beef slapping beef around.
That too.
It's gonna
Listen,
be
we make it
enjoyable.
exactly. Listen, we make it no secret that the Los Lobos de la Lucha is the queerest show we have here on BC WrestlePod. So get with it. I'm just kidding.
This is like the nice appetizer before the main course.
Well,
Like
I
finger
mean, one
food. I could pick
one
it up
person
and
in
just
one person in the main event might be the main course. When we'll talk about that when we
Yep.
get there, because I still got feelings about this, but that's neither here nor there. So this is what's opening up. So I'm gonna go back to the poster because we also have a second match which doesn't have an official graphic yet. Which shout out to CMLL for releasing all of the 920 by 1080 graphics for these matches the day of, so I could just take them and put them in the slideshow for later. But we have a Relevos Australianos match, which is going to be the team of Templario, Neon, and Star Jr. taking on the team of, he's okay because he's going to be advertising the show, Soberano Jr., Angel de Oro, and Niebla Roja. So, which we haven't seen too much of him since we started CMLL.
Yep.
Again, I think this is going to be a fun match. It's going to follow up what opens it. Templario and Soberano Jr. are in this match, so immediately I'm sold. Like, we're good. Like, this is going to be a fantastic match.
Yep. And
everybody else. Yeah, go ahead.
Angel de Oro is your Torneo de Plata winner.
Mhm.
So he did win the silver plaque. So Soberano Jr. He's a great rudo. Also, Angel de Oro and Nebia Rojo.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They're brothers. I forgot what they are, what their name is, but they are brothers, and they are billed as such. So
Like biologically, which is fantastic.
Yeah. So this team of Sobrano Jr., Angel de Oro, and Nebia Rojo, they are a very good rudo team. So with these three, be expecting a lot of shenanigans to go on, and a lot of telling the audience to shh, calma, por favor.
I'm super excited. Papo, also, how do you feel? I mean, listen, Templario is our guy. So, like, I'm in, and I'm in for Soberano Jr. too. So what do you
Yep.
think?
Oh, yeah, I was like, Templario, I'm here. You just need to say his name and I shall appear.
Imagine Joe Hendry appears. I would lose my mind.
Oh
Oh my God. Then I'd be like, Joe Hendry is going to win everything.
Yeah.
Oh, stay tuned for this upcoming Sunday because we will be talking about Joe Hendry's match against Josh Alexander. I'm really excited for that match, but I digress.
No, this was
So-
I think this is going to be a great match. You know, looking at all the matches on this poster, they're all going to be really great matches. I honestly believe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, but I was studying the poster, and I think each match is going to give us something different,
Yes.
which is so exciting, which is what makes this so exciting.
Exactly. Like
know.
our next match too, because we have the finals of the Copa Independencia for 2024 with Máscara Dorada versus Titan. Listen, all I have to say about this, because I'm very familiar with these two, not just of what we've seen in CMLL, but also other places around the world as well. This is literally going to be the physical embodiment of the Jason Statham movie Crank, where these two are going to start, keep it at 100 miles per hour, and nobody, we as an audience are not going to breathe until the very end. These men are about to go high, flying everywhere. The children are not prepared, but I am, and I'm super excited. Like, this is probably going. Every match on here is like anticipated for me, but this is match I'm expecting. This is where a lot of the high flying is going to come from.
If this match goes more than 10 minutes, I am going to be very impressed because, like you said, these two are going to slam down on the gas and they are not going to let up. They are going to keep going. They're going to be doing stuff off the top turnbuckle, stuff off the ramp, hopping off the one turnbuckle to the other turnbuckle, topes suicidas, friggin', hand sprints in the damn ring. It's just going to be like, it's going to be crazy. You said it. It's going to be a physical representation of Crank the movie, and if it goes more than 10 minutes, just because these two are just going to like, I don't, and I'm probably setting myself up for failure, but I don't see these two having that much energy to keep going past 10 minutes in this match. I'm probably wrong, but that's that.
That's fair.
Papa, also, any additional thoughts?
No, it's going to be badass.
Oh, absolutely. All right, kids. Now we get to something that actually has a graphic. And I don't care what nobody says. This is my most anticipated right here. Usually I try not to swear on this channel, and as a good Christian boy, I try not to use the Lord names in vain. But Jesus Christ, you guys, like, oh my goodness, this is my most anticipated match for the CMLL Women's Championship. We have our champion, Miss Willow Nightingale of AEW fame and overall, like, one of my favorite women's wrestlers currently out there in the game, taking on a relatively kind of equal in powerhouse status in CMLL's Zoopsies. Oh my God, this is going to be two beefy women fighting, and I'm here for it.
Yep.
Now,
oh my gosh.
I know most American AEW fans have seen Zoopsies in AEW before, but as we've said time and time again, the characters that you get on AEW that come from CMLL are completely different when they're on AEW than when they are on CMLL. And do not count out Zoopsies in this match.
No. And then on the flip side too, especially for us, I always, when people ask, like, which women's wrestlers in other promotions should I look at, I always have Willow Nightingale on my list. And this match is going to slap. I think it's going to be fantastic. There's no way they can disappoint me in this one. What I'm most excited about, though, is getting to show Willow Nightingale, especially when she's allowed to go off, because Homegirl is a fantastic wrestler. And when I say she's power, she's literally power. She will throw girls across the ring. Like, don't let her bubbly personality fool you, because homegirl will throw you across the ring.
I've seen her wrestle.
Oh, that's right. I forget. Listen, I'm so excited. This is going to be such a good match. I think Willow and Zeuxis
I
is
agree.
probably a really good matchup, and they definitely did a good job of matching Willow with somebody who is, wrestling wise kind of equal to her, be more of the I'm gonna throw her across the ring and I'm gonna drag her by her braids kind of person.
Yeah, Willow is going to have a very hard time trying to put her elbow into Zeuxis.
Oh,
That's
and I'm
definitely a thing.
excited to see how Willow kind of does with the more lucha libre style since we're in CMLL. But I'm not worried because we've seen it before, not just in AEW, but when Willow, won the championship at Fantastica Mania US in that in that triple threat, like she kind of fits really well in this kind of style. So I'm super excited.
My only the thing I wish is if Willow wins, that we have a good stint of Willow staying down in Mexico and wrestling in Mexico. Yeah, because I just feel that's the only thing that has just been a little bit sour with her having the CML Women's Championship is that she hasn't been in Mexico. I know that she's been doing a lot of high visibility matches with AEW, and I'm not I'm not faulting her for that. I just yes, please, Willow, come down to Mexico. Defend the belt or get some matches in Mexico. So that's all.
Which I think she might do, because especially with her losing, I'll say high profile, because that match at All Out was definitely in my top 3. So losing to Chris Statlander, that Chicago street fight, I think having Willow wrestle in Mexico for a little bit, for like a couple weeks, I think would be great to kind of, build Chris up now that she's bit Willow, to figure out where Chris goes next, and then have Willow return to AEW for like the next part of her storyline too, whether it's with Chris again or somebody else. But again, I am super looking forward to this match. I think is going to be a grand time. And speaking of grand times, you guys, I also am super excited for this, because this pretty much has 6 of my favorite peoples across any promotion right now for me personally. But for a Relevos Increíbles de Corte Internacional, so basically an international trios match, if you will, representing CMLL, we have the team of Volador Jr., our ROH World Television Champion Atlantis Jr., and of course the workhorse himself, Grandpa Ultimo Guerrero, Papa Ultimo Guerrero, taking on the international team of what I say is a very interesting choice, but I love it. Representing AEW, you have Mr. Orange Cassidy himself. You representing the New Japan LA Dojo and New Japan in general, as well as CMLL. This man is everywhere. He spreads himself around, as the kids say, in Rocky Azucar Romero. And then representing MLW, we have one half of our tag team champs, Cozy Max and Satoshi Kojima. I am so ready for this match. If anything, I'm excited to see how Orange Cassidy's style of wrestling fits down here. And for some reason, I feel like it's going to. If Orange Cassidy can adapt to have a banging match against Will Ospreay a couple years ago, I think, honestly, I just want to see Orange and Volador go at it. I think they're going to burn the house down. But I'm excited for this match, because I think this is going to be the fun match of the evening, where it's just pure entertainment and funniness and shenanigans, but in the best possible way. I'm really excited for this. There's no stakes here, and that's okay. Some matches just needs to be fun. And this match for me screams fun.
Yeah, and then there's also a very interesting dynamic, because on the Luchador side, with Atlantis Jr., Volador Jr., and Ultimo Guerrero, Atlantis Jr. and Volador Jr., they're técnicos. Ultimo Guerrero, he's a rudo. He is, and I think I've said this before, the most rudo to rudo of the rudos, So that's a very interesting group there. And then I know American fans, AEW fans, they know Orange Cassidy as the baby face, right? And for the most part, Rocky Romero is the baby face. But in Mexico, they're going to be the bad guys. They're going to be the heels. So it's going to be interesting to see Orange Cassidy and how he reacts to that dynamic.
Absolutely. Papa Oso, do we have any thoughts of our international trios match?
No, not really. I think it's I do think it's interesting of the mix of like Velado Jr., Lantis Jr., and Ultima Guerrero. I think that's an interesting trio.
Yeah.
As you were saying. And I just think that's so neat. And of course, anytime Rocky Romero is on my screen, I'm okay with it.
I mean, there's a reason his middle name is Azúcar, which is sugar for those of you. So Rocky Sugar Romero.
Yes, and yes, you can pour some sugar on me if you'd like.
Cinnamon for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I'm interested to see. Like I said, I don't know a lot about like Orange Cassidy and Kojima. I don't really know them. I've seen them. I'm familiar with them, but I don't know them. So I don't know. We'll see. For me, this is a I can't wait to see what happens.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm super excited for this one. So again, we don't have an official graphic for what is our semi-main event, but what is being touted as a quadrangular de máscaras, so a four-way of masks match. So basically a máscara por máscara match, but fatal four-way. We have, and this has been going on for like since we started watching CMLL.
Yeah, it's been going
So
on
if
for 3
anything,
months.
this is probably the longest story that has been told on the weekly shows.
Yep.
We have Hechicero, Esfinge, Euforia, and Valiente, where somebody is losing a mask by the end of this, and I'm here for it. Like, this is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Like, this match is about to be on and popping. Like, these men are about to kill each other, as we have seen and been teased the last couple of weeks.
I've been waiting for this match.
Yes.
I'm like, ever since this whole thing began, I'm like, when is this match happening? Because I need to see it.
Yeah. So to give our viewers a little background, going maybe 2-3 months, this whole beef started with Esfinge and Euphoria, where they started ripping at each other's masks in matches, and then slowly but surely, Hechicero and Valiente got swept up in this. Valiente got swept up because he took a kick. No, he took a tope from Esfinge and thought that Esfinge meant to do it, and it wasn't a mistake. And then Hechicero got involved in this because Valiente and Hechicero have had beef for, I can say this, decades. So this is their like magna opus, if you will. The one thing I've been trying to figure out, which I haven't seen the rule set. Usually Mascara for Mascara is just, a 1v1 where the winner takes the loser's mask, right? But now with 4, and it's a Mascara contra Mascara contra Mascara contra Mascara, is it over when one person loses their mask, or is it over when 2 people lose their mask? Or is it over when 3 people lose their mask and one person is left with their mask? So I'm not 100% sure what the rule set is for this 4-way, which makes it even more fun and interesting for me.
Huh, that's interesting. You're right. I didn't even think about that. Because I've been so caught up between the two. Because, but yeah, wow. I hope that it is until the last man is standing.
That would be cool.
That's what I'm hoping it is.
That would be cool. Yeah.
So maybe someone's going to be collecting masks that night.
Yeah.
Huh.
Instead of a belt collector, it's like the mask collector.
collector.
That would be
Yeah.
a fun gimmick.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So that is what is our semi-main event, which then we get into what is going to be main eventing the anniversary show. And Papa also mentioned that our first match was going to be the appetizer, and then we would find our way into the main course. So I'm just going to, do this real quick before we talk about it, because, we about to get some controversy. We're going to get some controversy. You have been warned. Okay. So in our main event for the anniversary show, what is being touted as a mano a mano match, so just one-on-one, we have your poster boy for CMLL, like the face of the company, Místico, taking on AEW's the Lionheart Jericho. So that is the moniker that is being used for this one. Chris Jericho has like lots of them. We are using the Lionheart. Spoiler alert, you already know if you watch the AEW review, I am not a fan of Chris Jericho and his antics.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like not looking forward to this match, but you know what? I had to put my personal feelings aside because I love Místico. And I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but I feel that since it's just Jericho and we're not bringing the learning tree gimmick in here, like I am okay with it.
Right.
I still don't like Jericho, but if we leave the learning tree nonsense out of this match, I think it's going to be okay.
Right.
I am still looking forward to this match, though. I think this is going to be a good one. Chris Jericho is the veteran here. Místico is your, poster boy. And, Chris Jericho does have some tenure in Mexico when he was traveling all over the world earlier in his career. So that's why I'm not as upset about this match, because Jericho actually has trained in Lucha Libre. So I'm still looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be fun. And of course, I'm rooting for Místico because, he is our boy. So,
yeah, I believe I have to fact check myself on this, but I believe that while Jericho was in Mexico, he either trained and partnered with Místico a few times, because that was when Místico was relatively new-ish, I think. So there, so there is history, especially for the Mexican audience, which we here in the States, we have to kind of keep that thought kind of forefront in our minds, because would seeing like Mystico versus Will Ospreay, would that be just like incredible? Yeah, but most of the Mexican fans won't really know Will Ospreay. Unfortunately, however you want to phrase it, Chris Jericho, the Lionheart, they do know. He has a connection and a history with the Mexican people, and so from a booking standpoint, I feel that kind of works to the strength of this. Out of all the matches, I will say though, I don't think on the 91st anniversary show that Mystico's going to lose. So, so I think we're going to see Mystico win. And then also as a sidebar, Chris Jericho is one of the only AEW people, other than Rocky Romero, of course, but Chris Jericho is one of the only AEW people that have gone down and actually done promos in Spanish, because he knows Spanish, which is, I know that's like the lowest bar, but here we are.
that is very fair. Papa, also, so you have an interesting thing. So even though you haven't seen too much of Chris Jericho's recent work, as someone who has been watching wrestling since the 80s and kind of kept up with it a little bit in the 90s, I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm assuming wrong, you do know a little bit about Mr. Jericho over here. So how do we feel about this being our main event for the anniversary show?
Well, I don't know, like, Elva's daughter was talking about how Mexicans know him. So I see. I don't know that. I didn't know that context. I didn't know, because at first I was like, why are they just bringing some random white dude down here to fight, Mystico. I was like, why aren't they getting someone like huge that makes sense to? I didn't know that this would technically make sense to people, but I, when it comes to things like this, I'm always, and it's even in like an American style wrestling. It's like when you have your champion from like, we'll say from like TNA, and then all of a sudden they bring some random person from a whole other company in to fight them, and I'm like, is there nobody else in your own company that is worthy of this spot?
I mean,
That's my biggest issue.
we'll talk
No,
about that afterwards too, because TNA's doing that this weekend.
yeah, I know. But no disrespect to Chris Jericho or anything of that nature, but it's just like, are you telling me that for the 91st anniversary, you have to bring someone from the outside in to celebrate that? And I'm like, why are you not just finding someone in the culture? Heck, I would even like go to Guadalajara and pull somebody. Just I don't understand why. I don't know. That's my big thing. And that's the only issue I have with it. I mean, it's like but if the audience is like this dude, then yay. But I'm very much like, why is there no one else in your family group that would deserve this spot? I guess I get that would be that, but if and that would be my question even in American wrestling. It's like, is there no one worthy in your own company? Because to me, it's a little insulting. If it were me and I was in this company, I'd be like, I could take him on. Why can't I take him on? I'm part of this family. I'm part of this company. This dude's not, and you're bringing him in. Now, I don't, and I agree with you is that Mystico's obviously going to win this match, but because I can't imagine that they would have him lose on the 91st anniversary. But I don't know. That's just my thing. I'm pretty sure the match is going to be amazing, but I don't know. And maybe that's just me personally, and that's just me, and people just need to be like, "Will, shut up." I was like, okay,
No,
okay, I get it.
no, you make a really good point. I guess the only other thing to kind of counter that is that unlike uh unlike the North American promotions, AEW, WWE, whatnot, CMLL really doesn't regulate their wrestlers to just like one show, you know? Like you on Friday, you'll see Mystico in Mexico City, then you'll see him over in Guadalajara, and then back in Mexico City, and then back in Guadalajara, and they do that with all the wrestlers, so I guess for the Mexican fans to bring Chris Jericho in to bring an American wrestler in, it's for them it's exotic, you know, and then especially with like the history that you got of Jericho in Mexico and all that, which I'll do research and I'll post a reel and a video either tomorrow or Friday about this, but so I think that's where the booking aspect of it is coming from. So, I mean, I could also be missing the mark as well. So, but that's my 2 cents.
Gotcha. All right. So that does bring us to the end. I think this is going to be a really fun show. And this is going to be fun. We're going to watch it. We're going to review it. No, because we are not just going to be watching it on our own. We are going to be live streaming this watch along on Friday. So I talked to the boys here and also made sure to talk to Papa Oso, who is my TNA consultant, be like, hey, is it okay if we skip the TNA review this week so we can do a live stream of of the CMLL 91st anniversary show. And you know what? It kind of works out because even if we did the TNA review show, we will be doing the go home show when the pay-per-view is literally airing live as we do the review. So this is gonna be interesting. But the CMLL boys will be live streaming a watch along for the 91st Aniversario show this Friday. So let me see if I can get this. We will be going live, I believe, at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Central, and 10:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be watching the show, and I am stoked. This is going to be fun. My goal is to start putting in like all these other smaller big shows for these smaller companies that we do, since we pretty much do pay-per-view reviews for WWE, AEW, and TNA. So to shout out CMLL, we're going to show them some love too. So I'm super excited about that. And I have some breaking news as well. Though not CMLL related, your boy El Jefe himself has been working do some behind the scenes stuff and has inked not one but 2 contracts for new pay-per-view watch along and reviews. And so I am proud to announce them here on this episode. So I have finalized plans. I have got things. So just to set the stage, if anyone remembers, our lovely host Andrew, who is currently on hiatus right now, and I have been having some conversations, and we have been starting to plan things for his return. And he has decided to take on the monumental task of coming back in the grandest way possible by not only leading 1, but 2 big GCW pay-per-views happening. So the first one to make this announcement is the first pay-per-view that Andrew will be leading, myself and whoever else wants to join us through, is the Bloody Nick Gage Invitational 9, where literally it is fight to the death kind of stuff, which is taking place November 16th. So that one's going to be fun. And then, of course, literally a week and a half later, a day after Full Gear for AEW on Sunday, November 24th, coming live from Jersey City, New Jersey, is Josh Barnett's Blood Sport 12. If anybody saw our watch along for Blood Sport 11 with myself, Andrew, and the Professor, you know it's a good time. And this is where true martial arts meets wrestling. It is a great time. I promise you that. So that is coming in November, but I wanted to make this announcement now, not just for these pay-per-views, but officially giving a date to our lovely host Andrew's return. So I'm not going to lie. I'm happy that he's coming back a lot sooner than I thought it was going to. But you can catch myself, Papo Oso, and El Buntador this Friday for the live CMLL 91st Aniversario watch-along show. Me and El Buntador have been spending a lot of time this week, and we get to continue the trend this week on Friday. It's going to be fantastic. But that's going to be it for us here at Los Lobos de la Lucha Review. Make sure to tune in on Friday for the live watch along, and then you can catch our review next week on Wednesday at our normal time, where we will be reviewing the anniversary show. But until then, from all of us here and the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will see you Friday for the watch along. But until then, sayonara. Yes, viernes. So excited. But until then, sayonara, adios, and we will catch you later. Until then, ta-ta for now.